this is taking longer than I expected to. So, yay. I've got my friends by my side, we're stronger than a raging tide. So what if we don't have water? And so what if we get bombed? I'm sure our leaders care for us like President Awesome Sauce. I tried to befriend some not nice people, they drowned me in a lake. They tied me up, strung me from a tree just to see if I would break. So it didn't work out, but that's okay, cause I won't stop till I get my way. I'll keep coming back with a smile on my face, and until we're friends I won't go away. Cause life's all about trying new things, following your heart to see what it brings. So don't you listen to what they say, just be yourself and it'll be okay. I've got my friends by my side, as long as I have them it'll be alright. So grab your guitar, grab your uke, play along and sing in tune. Join us on this wild ride as we follow BloodThing's life. It's a little bit bloody but a whole lot of cute, and now you know that we'll see you soon. Well, fifth time's a charm, I guess. Is this happy? Is this happy yet? Is this happy? This is a song I'm sure I'll forget. The other day had a friend of mine come on over so we could spend time. He leaned onto me, I had to ask why. He said, I've got a man, but I'm sure it's fine. Is this happy? Is this happy yet? Is this happy? So what if I had sex with my best friend? Sometimes when I'm out, I'll take what's on mine. And if I get caught, I'll tell a lie. Like I've learned my lesson, sir, I'll be a better guy. And if that doesn't work, I'll just pretend to cry. Is this happy? Is this happy? Yeah. Is this happy? I'm as stable as paper on a shredding desk. What is happy? And will I be happy again? What is happy? How will this all go? I forgot again. Yeah, well, I'm over it. Vibe's gone.
I still like cows. Now, you know me... Now, you know my... Why?
No, he's just never happy. Well, if you lift him, you'll probably get inside.
I'm so fucking tired.
Do it with your face over your mouth.
My face over my mouth?
Yeah, so that...
You mean my hand?
Yeah, your face.
Oh, just... No.
Can you do that? It's okay.
No, I'm actually fucking yawning. Fantastic.
If you ask me, all you journalists need to be raped and then shot in the head, and you're gonna take that out of context like you always do. All you journalists are ganging up on me, and I'm the president. What platform do I have to defend myself? I don't think you would like it. Why wouldn't I like it? Anything about that?
Well, I don't know anything about that.
And then if you can pick up that and my resume, have it be even more, and have it.
Wait, it would actually be really helpful if you'd come along. Wait, it would actually really...
Okay, I think we got it.
Wait.
And then a little bit less sassy, if you can. I feel like I feel.
I'm
bad
naturally sassy.
Yeah, I feel bad. Like George Lucas has a car that says faster and more intense. I need to have a car that says slightly less sassy.
That should be my license plate. Hot beef injection. Hot beef injection. No, I didn't get fired.
If I screwed, you're like, I don't want to make fun of you, but you're like screwed. Like, I'm completely screwed.
I'm still in that hot beef injection mode.
Oy.
Hey!
Hey. So, like, your wall?
Oh shit! I forgot you were coming over.
You shouldn't keep postponing it. The tarp's getting pretty nasty. I saw brainwinders circling it. They're gonna find a way in. Did you get a haircut?
Chunks of it got singed off in the fire, so I had to even it out.
Ah.
Seriously though, I'm so sorry, but I do really have to go into town today. I have a bunch of job interviews lined up.
Ooh, did you get fired?
No, I didn't get fired. It's just all the new pet shit I gotta deal with now. Also, the water bill went up. Which is bullshit because I don't drink water and Bloody only drinks that syrupy crap.
You know why it went up, right? It's because the Simply Liberation sanitary napkin arena is not paying for its water, so the city's voicing the bill on us.
Well, I don't know anything about that, but if I can't get you a job, I'm completely screwed. It shouldn't be too hard, right? I mean, I've had this job forever, and my resume is longer than half the people alive. Right? Right?
Well, that's fine anyway. I have shit to do too. We need to finish removing all the torn up sidewalk, and some kids have been fucking around the abandoned cement
Wait,
mixer.
it would actually be really helpful if you would come along.
Ha! No. Besides, it's not a good look if you bring a friend. They'll think you can't do anything by yourself.
But I can't!
Fine.
Well, I have to go at some point.
Just think of all the things I can learn how to do. I can learn how to read better. I can learn how to drive or do my taxes, or maybe even the meaning of life. It'll be just like on TV. So, we dug a hole in the thing.
The front lawn.
Yeah, the lawn. She was playing the downer like hero child labor, and I was playing capitalism.
Okay. Come on.
Let me know in the comments what punishment should be allotted for frivolity so heinous.
If you're serious about this, you'll have to do something you don't want to. They're not gonna hire you.
No lipstick.
Tough it out. If I have to
Be just like on TV.
Can we sign your yearbook?
I do hope there isn't as much backstabbing and murder as on TV.
I've made the order, Babushka. There's nothing you can do. 37 assassins are on their way to hold him.
Can we sign your yearbook?
Hello. So, throughout the entire production of, well, no, actually, throughout most of the production of episode 5, I filmed, little vlogs, updating on progress and things like that. Obviously, the episode's not done yet. The episode is possibly a quarter of the way done, if we're being, like, optimistic. I mean, like, who knows if it'll ever come out. I'm not optimistic about my ability. Plus, I'm gonna work on some other episodes because I'm getting bored of it. Yeah, basically, this is an editing together of all of the production vlogs for this episode. Yeah, I guess that's what it is. So, some history about this episode. This was always intended to be the third episode of BloodThing, even in the original series. It was originally titled "What You Gotta Do." The plan for the original series was going to be an episode where BloodThing meets Miranda, now Puddles, at the park. An episode where unnamed character, now Takara, invites her bosses over for dinner, which was the one that the most work got done on. And then episode 3, What You Gotta Do, where BloodThing goes to his first day of school. That was always the thing. Unfortunately, the title has changed, and unfortunately, it's also been pushed to episode 5. So I wanted to still have it be the same title. The title was a reference to "You Gotta Do What You Gotta Do" from Futurama. But unfortunately, I've drastically rewritten the episode. A lot of the skeleton structure is basically the same. But I've drastically rewritten the episode, and thus, I didn't know if the title was still appropriate. I don't know if it actually encapsulates what the new direction for the episode. So I picked a stupid title instead, which is what I always do. I pick a stupid title so that nobody knows where the plot's going. The first vlog was recorded in November 9th, 2018. I'd like to say the words production began in, but in all honesty, since this was always planned to be an episode, I don't really know when a good arbitrary time to say when the production cycle began. Well, regardless, around then is when writing started, and I think that's the most important thing. Throughout the course of years and years, whenever I have an idea for a BloodThing episode, I'll write it down. I have stacks and stacks of physical handwritten notes, as well as recently digitally written notes that I'll jot down on my phone whenever the idea arises. A lot of the handwritten notes were written when I was in school. I don't know if it's known, but that's how long I've been working on BloodThing, since I was in sophomore year, I think. The first step was to assemble all of the notes for God knows how many years that I was planning the episode. So to dig through all of the handwritten notes, as well as assembling all of the digital notes together into one singular script. The first real act of planning the episode was that me and Leave It Blank were going through the handwritten notes. I would sift through them and then hand them to her. Luckily, she was decent at reading my cursive, which is a Herculean task because my handwriting is atrocious. So she would type them out and I would find them. So that was the first step. So this documentary will mostly just be comprised of clips edited together, but I thought that there are a few places where I'll need to pop in and narrate. And hopefully, based on the difference in microphone quality, you'll be able to pick up. I hope that it's easy enough to tell. So hopefully that'll be good. So I guess what this is like a pathetic attempt to try to get people to like the show more by showing how hard it is to make. But I'm fully aware that the exact opposite problem will happen, because when you leave everything up to audience interpretation, they can fill in the blanks themselves. So sometimes they'll give you the benefit of the doubt and go like, maybe that was like intentional. And then when you find out that it wasn't, because the director said so themselves, people will go like, wow, this guy's a fucking idiot, and the show's terrible. You suck, and your show is bad. That's probably what's going to happen. Obviously, the show's never going to get popular, but if it does, which it won't, I fully expect stuff like this to be used in like a Daft Pina style video to make fun of me. So, here we go. Sorry. I'm recording this on a different day. My voice is all fucked. Okay.
Cool. Cool fight scene moment. If someone's fighting Vid, what?
Before we had a name for her, it was V/D for vampire demon.
That sounds like a fucking
Venereal disease, yes.
If someone's fighting VD in the kitchen, she should fill what?
Sorry.
She should fill her mouth with toothpicks.
Yeah.
Take a straw. What's that word? Take a straw out of a Slurpee cup and use it as a machine gun to blow the toothpick into... That's literally a squiggly line coming.
Enemy's eyes.
What? Like, huh?
Right there. It's not focusing. Maybe I can't write.
The early stages of this began during one of the hardest and most stressful parts of BloodThing, which was the hardware failure I had during episode 3. I don't remember what the problem was, unfortunately, but it was so bad that I had to take my computer into the shop to get it fixed. I was able to continue working on episode 3 a little bit while it was in the shop. Not much, because I was just too stressed out. That's one of the advantages of working analog, is that you can continue to working on something when everything fails on you. Me and Tritney were like still working on the backgrounds for that episode while my computer was in the poop. So then the problems were persisting, and I gave it to Staples again. And they had it for like nearly a month, and they told me the reason that they had it for an entire month was that they were trying to fix this glitch that the mouse does that still persists to this day, and is like a degenerative thing that's snowballed into something else, where every 30 seconds the screen will freeze for like a full second of those 30 seconds. They didn't know what that was, so they uninstalled all of my programs again, and then installed Windows 10 without my permission. And then they're like, here you go, this'll do it. It didn't. And basically, as a result, I haven't been able to play video games on this thing for over 2 years. And then Windows 10 was this whole thing. It wouldn't let me do most of the things that I needed to do. So the clock was wrong. It was like completely wrong. The date was completely wrong. And the screen brightness was set to the highest brightness it could possibly be set to for no reason. And I needed administrator privileges or something like that. Like, it's like, you do not have permission to change the screen brightness. Fuck you. That's what Windows 10 told me. It was very rude. So for a while, I would have to cover the screen with this transparent like folder. I just had to put it over the screen because my eyes were fucking bleeding. Another stage in the process was that I even dug through the project files of my previous major project to make sure that no stone was left unturned or whatever, which hadn't been open in a very long time. But since it took place in school, I thought I might as well see if there was anything I can pull out of it.
and I'm watching documentaries about education. This one came up on a list. I don't think it's actually going to be very helpful, but you should definitely watch it if you can find it. It's called Please Vote for Me, and it's about these Chinese kids having the first election in their like class, and it's really horrifying because like it all like immediately goes wrong because like the kind of fat kid with the rat tail, he's like he immediately figures out how to abuse the system. It's hilarious. Like he's telling people to like boo during people's performances because this is terrible, but like right afterwards he starts crying. The entire class is crying. It's like an Arrested Development scene. This is the first day and he's like trying to scheme and like he gets doing these sneaky backhanded tactics. All these things occur to him immediately. Like they're like collecting dirt on each other. Like they talk to all the other classmates and ask what bad things they have to say about the other candidates. It's amazing. Like, and none of them knew what democracy was 2 minutes before this documentary started. This line's amazing. I'm not even afraid of God.
The best city to live in the country as Boise, Idaho. Well, the worst city was once again...
These set of pictures are from me and Megan recording something during this period of time. I don't know what it was. It must have been the April Fool's Day video, I guess. I think the funny part is that we had to have is that there was no power in her shed, so we had to use an extension cord. I think that's what's supposed to be conveyed here.
Anyways, Lucas said that I could come over in 2 weeks, and because of the fact that he lives very far away and has a very busy work schedule, that means that like the last time I saw him was like 6 months ago, so that means that I potentially have to have nearly every single line of Takara's like ironclad, because there's a good chance that I'm not going to be able to get another shot at this. So I am currently walking to Qdoba, like I do most of the time, to write, and I'm going to be there. What time is it now? It's 1:30, so I'm going to be there until at least 8:30, and I'm going to try to get as much of her lines done as I can. Oh boy, oh no, I'm so nervous. I like to trap myself there. You know, I'm walking there, so it's difficult to get home. It's a lot less difficult to get home now, though, since it's not the winter. I thought that I had just passed like this enormous dead scorpion, but apparently it was a crawdad, so that's good. Can you hear it? Oh, there's a bunch of cars. They're playing it again. They play it all the fucking time. I hate it. I'm so sick of it. I'm planning on sending Zach this cute little red laptop in the mail because it's a piece of shit. I thought I'd send it to him to make writing easier. Yeah, it only works if you have the power adapter plugged in, and the screen only works at certain angles. Let's see if I can. Yeah, it does that if you try to tilt it.
So, I sent that laptop to Zach, and I guess he didn't have the patience to deal with it, and instead of sending it back to me, he just smashed it with a hammer.
I'm now. Oh, you're an anonymous capybara and a dolphin at the same time somehow. I tried to explain this scene to her, but she decided to write that down anyway. It's 14 days until me and Lucas are gonna hang out and record the lines for Takara. I hate looking at this. I hate doing this so much. I'm so sick of it. At this point in the script, enormous sections of the script still aren't finished, but I feel like that's okay because I know I have a scene-by-scene breakdown of what's going to happen. All the black highlighted text that looks like closed captioning is the scene-by-scene breakdown, and then all of these different colored texts are, some of it is ideas by the other writers, but most of it is just me erasing that and then not bothering to change the text color, or specifically trying to shift the text colors so that I can tell the difference between each scene. Yeah, I only need to finish the scenes where Takara is speaking in them, and large sections of it are just like all this stuff is just completely unsorted out. This is one of the final scenes, but since she doesn't talk into it, I can figure that out later. Part of the reason why some of the other episodes have been so exhausting is because because when you know exactly what you're going to do from the moment you start, it gets ridiculously exhausting and monotonous. And part of the fun of some of the other things I've done is trying to work out things as I go, which I think you're not supposed to do, especially if you're as stupid as I am. But it's way better, and it makes it so that you don't lose interest. That's the way Don Hertzfeldt made It's Such a Beautiful Day. And one of the things he said is you can't sit down and say you're going to be creative today, because you're probably not going to make anything good. You can't force stuff to come out. And what he says, the analogy he uses is sometimes you're just in the shower and you'll have an idea, or you'll wake up at night and you'll have an idea, and that's kind of how things work, at least for me. I'll just have a shitty idea and then I'll write it down on my phone. So yeah, I'm gonna try to do this one with the structure completely solid, but each individual scene I can try to sort of figure out how best to convey it when the time comes, so that I'm not stuck with bad ideas from early on, and I can still incorporate new ideas as I go. I got this keyboard so that I don't have to crane my neck as hard to try to hunch over my laptop. I didn't actually get this. I just fished it off of a dead computer that we have. You can tell by how old it is. Look at you see the grease? So now I'm doing something I've never done before. So I have no fucking clue how long this script is going to be. The document is 211 pages, but obviously there are several drafts and a bunch of unrelated shit in there, because I didn't even pick this episode originally. This was just a planning document for episode 3? Episode 2. Because originally the title rhymed. I don't know if I'm going to change the title, but at one point it was episode 2, What You Gotta Do, as a complete coincidence. That wasn't intended. Now it's episode 4 at this point, maybe 5 if I make another one in the meantime. But anyways, as you can see right here, I have no fucking clue how long this is going to be. So I have been reading. I just now started reading the scenes aloud, and then pressing a stopwatch as I read them to try to get a general gauge of how unwieldy this monster was, and maybe I'll try to make changes as I go.
So something I found out just recently is that the reason you should write in proper screenplay format is that each page of a script translates to 1 minute of screen time, roughly. I used to write all my scripts on notebook paper. On the other side of the red line, I think, I would write the character names and then a colon, and then on the right side of that red line, I would write all the dialogue, in the big space. I believe part of my script writing format was also derived from these Simpsons episode guides that I would read constantly as a kid. That's where I got the brackets and the parentheses and the colons and stuff. And I just assumed that that's the way scripts were written, and not that it was a special format specifically designed for those books for some reason. So yeah, that's why my scripts look weird.
Okay, I'm going over some of my old notes just to make sure that I didn't miss anything really cool that I could integrate into the episode at the last minute. It's May 4th or something. Yeah, it's May 4th. Happy Star Wars Day. So Lucas is coming here tomorrow. Originally, there was a B or C plot, with Puddles, when she was originally named Miranda. The reason that she was brought to school in the first place was because that she was going to be abducted by the Wildlife Liberation Force, which was like a group of that had escaped from like a genetic testing facility, and they were going to rescue her and try to make her one of their own. I was gonna have them all like have like secret agent names. It would be Mole, Raccoon, Sparrow, but they would all be like, it would be like Kids Next Door, where each of the letters stood for something. So Sparrow, I actually came up with something good. Swiftly parasails around rugged outdoor wilderness. But for Mole, I guess all I could come up with was may obtain leftover eggplant. And like this would like appear on screen like whenever they showed up, like one by one, they would go on screen, you would see like Mole may obtain leftover eggplant, but it would be like, it wouldn't actually be narrated, it would just be like in text form. I cut that plot line out because I didn't feel very strongly about it. I don't know if that's like a good thing to do. If I don't have strong feelings one way or the other about something, I just usually remove it. And I didn't really have positive feelings towards that whole element of the story. Instead, I had potentially wasn't a good idea. I thought I was being clever, like, ooh, I found a way to integrate her into the story, like, and have it not be, like, distracting or whatever, or dumb. But then I realized that it felt contrived, like it wasn't a clever solution to have something happen that was more cliche. I, like, found a clever way to get her into the plot more organically, but at the same time is a much worse idea. So I don't know. I'm not sold on the whole Wildlife Liberation Force thing, and those like animals don't really exist in this world anymore. So it doesn't really. So we can't really have a raccoon and a sparrow and a mole just like hanging around. So yeah, she would have been abducted during like recess or something. You know, I wrote this when I was 15. I'm so sorry.
I mean, I've had this job forever, and my resume is longer than half the people alive, right? Right?
And then if you can pick up at and my resume, have it be even more. What I've been working on is trying to get the show in 16 by 9. I don't know if this is interesting to document, but previously I had to do the show in 4 by 3 because of the fact that paper is in, I think, 8.5 by 11 or something, and the scanners aren't built to be much bigger than the printers. But I was dedicated to getting this one in widescreen because I wanted it to look better and more professional. So what I've been doing is I've been doing my best to diagram all the ways that that I can do this now in like widescreen. I would be zooming in like this. Now it's getting all blurry. That's what makes it so hard to figure out. So I'd be zooming in that far. Now I have this much of the page to work with, as opposed to like the whole thing. Since it was 8.5 by 11, I would have to zoom in slightly on every single shot. This has been very annoying. I've had to like do like little measurements. The smaller ones are for because I don't like to always use the full page. It's kind of a waste. It's a waste of both time and paper because, like, you know, if it's just a singular shot of BloodThing looking at the camera, like, why do I need a full page for that? I don't know what I was thinking with this one because I have this little area right there. I wrote an angry letter to my past self. What have you done? Saying, what have you done? You would just zoom out a little bit farther. So that's what this is. This is going to be the full page shot, and then I'm going to divide this into 4 to make to make the smaller increments. And then over here, I thought if you rotate the paper like vertically, you can get potentially 2 16 by 9 shots that are slightly smaller than this, but slightly bigger than the 1/4 and then the quarter size shots. So part of the problem is, and I won't know how this will turn out until I actually do it, but I've been having to do my rough sketches wider. Like, I've been having to try to figure out how to put everything within the frame in like a wider frame. Like, I have a lot more space on the left and the right side of the screen to work with now, which can be awkward because, like, what the fuck am I gonna put all there? You know, you gotta fill everything out. So
hopefully I'll do a good job at that. The show will also be hopefully in a higher quality. It's not going to look perfect, but I basically figured out how to get it less blurry, which I've been gradually doing. You probably didn't notice, but part 5 is looked a lot better than some of the other parts. I think it was 5. Part 5 of episode 2 looked a lot better overall. You won't really notice because if you watch the full episode, it'll just seem like 2 minutes out of an episode. But yeah, that one was where I finally figured out how to get it less pixely, because I would always zoom in. I would zoom in the shots so that I didn't have to use the whole paper for every single shot, but that led to them getting pixelated, so I had to go through a whole bunch of silly nonsense in order to figure out how to not have that happen. I think I figured it out. Because there's a zoom in effect in Power Director, so I assumed that meant I was zooming into the image, but it isn't. It's zooming into the video. So if you produce it in standard definition, it's just zooming into a standard definition image. If you're producing it in HD, it's zooming into an HD image. It's so frustrating. So now what I'm doing is I'm physically making the images bigger, just grabbing them and then pulling them up until they match the size of the screen, instead of using the zoom in effect that is shitty. This is kind of weird, I'm sorry. And look, some of the words are kind of, it's like they just took National Geographic and then smudged the words a little bit. Anyways, I am already starting to regret my decision to go really into detail, because previously I tried to do only shots, only lines, and only scenes that were completely necessary to get it to go as fast as possible. This time, and I'll probably talk about this more in the text commentary, I wanted to have an episode that was more on the smaller moments, because this is an episode about, because when you just do everything utilitarianly, it makes it go by faster, but it also means that you don't get as much time to get to know the characters and stuff, and I feel like that's important for me to have people like my characters. This shot with the whirlpool I've been working on for the past 3 days. It's probably only going to be 15 seconds if it is in the final cut of the episode, and I assume it's going to be. And holy shit, I am already starting to regret my decision to do shit like this. This was supposed to be easy, so there's only 2 reused assets in this. So for a while, I wasn't sure how I wanted to do this as easily as possible, so then I decided to do an aerial shot, and the joke just flat out doesn't sell like this. So now I realized that I could squish it down like that. I've been working on this all day. I'm exhausted. He's so clicky. It's hailing! Oh my god! Though. Oh, fun fact. Did you know in Italy, as of the publication of the book that I'm reading, in Italy they would shoot fireworks into the sky to try to break up hailstorms, because they're really damaging the crops. So they needed to shoot thousands of fireworks into the sky to destroy the hailstorm, which is amazing. They need to hire Jeff. First day of summer. That's kind of interesting. So I'm here, and I have until here to get this episode done, the Pride Month episode or whatever. From the looks of it, I have a week and 1 day, or maybe just a week, to sift through 2 hours and 17 minutes of audio. Oh god, kill me. Alright, so, BloodThing face reveal vlog is due tomorrow at midnight.
and Gabby said that I could come over if I walked, since Michael has the car and is going to work. So that means that I'm going to walk maybe an hour or more in the 90-degree heat. I haven't heard from her in a while, so I hope that she won't like message me halfway through my walk and tell me that I need to turn around. I have my fingers crossed. I hope everything will go well. I don't know if I can communicate just how hot it is outside through video. Probably not. But it's one of those days where you gotta walk back and forth across the street to get into the shade. Alright, no more trees on this side, so I'm going to the other side. Luckily this street isn't very busy. You can tell Sammy's upset. Oh no. Takara is not visible at all. We keep forgetting to do something with this, like to put it away. I was going to put it in this Legend of Zelda jar that I have right here, but I kept forgetting, and it's all evaporated, and most of it's evaporated. Okay, so it's October? What month is it? It's July. No, it's August. It's August. It's August 30th, and I'm doing the final sound edit for BloodThing Part 1. And then here's a look at that. So I have all that part done, but I don't have any of the part with Takara done yet, except for the part where she yells at BloodThing. I'm going to try to maybe do the sound effects for her walking myself, because I don't really know what I would search up. Maybe I could search up like horse hooves on grass. I don't know. But in case not, this is what I sometimes use. These are like official coconuts from Monty Python's Spam-A-Lot. And unfortunately I took the tag off today because even though I really didn't want to, I wanted to keep the tag on. There's a pretty good chance that the paper would be picked up by the sound. It was just huge and in the way, so unfortunately I had to take it off. So I'm going to go out into the backyard. I'm going to clop this against the grass, and hopefully I'll get some type of sound out of that. This is a mayfly. I've only been out here for 2 seconds and there's a mayfly on me. That time again to break out the old Xbox 360 and the VCR. Hopefully it all goes smoothly. One hiccup this time around is that I can't record it off my TV upstairs because it just won't turn on. What kind of update do you think they would have for Xbox Live at this point? Oh my god. Connect a wireless. It's right here. Right, you're seeing this, right? Right after that update happened, nothing's working. I'm so pissed right now. This is the only analog device that I own that can get on YouTube. My Wii broke forever ago. I could try the Wii U. Alright, so I guess since this is an emergency, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to create a disc in my laptop, play the disc on the DVD player, and then hook that through the VCR and then film the television, because I can't get onto YouTube. I just realized the absurdity of what I'm doing. I'm using a VCR to display a DVD player, because that defeats the purpose, doesn't it, of having a DVD player. Oh, by the way, it's September 10th, 8 days away from my birthday, and it is 3 a.m. And I work in the morning.
I'll get in the hole.
No. I didn't want to say anything until I was sure Mr. Devientart was working security.
I found out that I can actually hook up both scanners at the same time. This might have been something I should have tried earlier, but I can't run multiple versions of PowerDirector, so I never thought I'd be able to run multiple versions of an HP printer at the same time. So yeah, this should hopefully make things go a little bit smoother. This one, it accidentally sometimes scans images incorrectly. And see if you can find this, future me. It will like make the image really squished for some reason. Like, it's really weird. Anyways, yeah. So yeah, that's the problem with this one. That's why I have to switch back and forth between these two. This one actually canceled on me the night that I was working on BloodThing Wants to Wish You a Happy Holidays. This one would just cancel them randomly. Like after like 10 minutes of scanning, it'll just go like, it'll just say canceling. I don't know what the fuck that meant. Whenever either of these start acting up, I switch between the two. But now I'm gonna use them both at the same time. Well, what do you know? One of them isn't working. I don't really notice a quality difference between the two, but we found out, I've just discovered that this one is actually significantly faster than this one. I guess that makes sense because it's older. But yeah, I've already swapped out one drawing in this one, while that one is still scanning its second thing. That one also goes up for anyone who wants to. Nobody's gonna want to buy these, but that one goes up to 2400 DPI or PPI. I don't know which one. This one's. It can only go up to 1200, at least the way I use it, I guess. Another thing I just recently found out is that 1200 DPI might be too much. The project file for this episode so far is over 100 gigabytes, which is more than most AAA games, so I probably need to figure stuff out. I don't know if that's still appropriate because of how far I zoom into the character models. Like, I'll draw the character, like, really small and then zoom in for certain shots, so I don't know if that's actually appropriate for that kind of thing. For the flexibility is what I'm looking at for. I can zoom in pretty far into the backgrounds if you've seen certain episodes, like, you know, there'll be a wide shot and then I zoom really close into the background and they look fine. I'm sorry, BloodThing's on hold. I have a meme to make. Alright, so when I import a piece of text from Gmail, it does this like weird thing where, like, well, first off, that's weird, right? When I try to highlight it all, there's like, it goes sideways. So that's weird to start out with. But there's also this little white square. And usually I know, at least I know enough to know that that means that something can't usually be, like, shown. But, like, so it goes from here to here to here to here, and then it goes up, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Where's it going? I can press end and try to work backwards. Sometimes that works. Alright, I think it's working.
One really irritating thing about this stupid thing is that it likes to mute itself when I plug it in sometimes. Like, I have to go through like 40 settings and then click the unmute button. I don't know if that's just a Windows 10 problem, but so when this happens, I have to go here, go here, go here, go here, go here, go here, and then click the unmute thing because it's usually muted when it gets plugged in. I don't know why.
When we interviewed people earlier, so we think that maybe.
I wanted to show you the first kind of camera that I really started doing animation on. I had some other digital cameras where I made some shitty home movies, but this is when I first started like making like big projects. Here it is. This is a Bratz stop motion camera that comes with like a Bratz doll that like walks down a runway or something. I wanted this thing for years when it first came out, and I finally got it because I assume, I don't remember how much it was. I want to say it's like it was $60 or $80 with this and the doll together. It takes 2 AAA batteries. You put the little camera, you put the SD card in here, and I started making stop motion movies with this in 6th grade, between 6th and 7th grade. You can look through there. I don't think I ever did. I don't really see the point of it because it looks like it's pretty far from where the lens is. There's even like a focus adjuster, which is kind of cool. Yeah. So yeah, I would make stop motion movies with this thing. And then eventually, when I started doing the BloodThing pilot, I would point this at the wall and then tape the animation to the wall. And then like film it. I would stack like DVDs underneath it to keep it steady. I'd press the little clicker. And the clicker is like duct taped to the top right here so that it could be steady. You see this like paper that's all taped to the side and shit? That's because this thing actually reflected a lot onto the animation cells. So like that would like be visible in the like shot or whatever. So I had to like try to cover it up to try to make that less of a problem. So that's, yeah, I never took that down. I would usually do it over here. And you can see all these little pieces of tape and all these smudges. That's from where I would tape the drawings and stuff. So I'd take these DVDs over here, stack them up, and then point the camera at the wall. And then the problem with that is that I couldn't really get out the door often because of the fact that, I could knock the camera over. For a lot of times I would be stuck in here for hours. I had that thing until halfway through BloodThing, and then I moved on to like a red Nikon thing when it stopped working. Alright, so I haven't looked at these in a while. Here are some of the remaining cells from when I would animated the BloodThing pilot. I would animate them. They're not technically cells, but these are actually overhead transparency paper. And if you see, I colored on the front of the paper, and then, but the problem is the characters are slightly transparent. So halfway through, I started like cutting out pieces of scrap paper to tape on the back so that they wouldn't be see-through. I did that with Takara from the beginning. That was like the hardest part, to find like a reasonable, like not very time-consuming way to do this whole thing. Look at all that detail I put onto the belt. Oh my god. It's Squirrel Cat. Oh my god, I still have all these. That's great. So yeah, this shot with her talking to Aston was fully animated in the original version, but at some point the footage got lost, so that's why she doesn't move her mouth during that scene, which is really frustrating. Like I had like the full thing animated, and then I don't have it anymore. I would have to like reconstruct it. So after I was done with a shot, I would have to clean these. I don't have every single frame. I would have to like wash them off. I would use cotton balls and a water like sprayer thing, like a squirt bottle. I would squirt into the cotton ball, and then I would rub all the details off. But for like really extreme color, I would use wet erase markers that were designed for this kind of thing, like the overhead transparency ones. I would get Expo brand, but I can only get those colors because regular markers wouldn't really work, which sort of created a problem because like that was a very limited number of colors that came with like an Expo set. For BloodThing, the red just wasn't strong enough, so at some point I moved to a permanent marker. And this is actually a really useful piece of information. So the way you erase permanent marker is you draw over permanent marker with a dry erase marker, and then that like obfuscates it and ruins it and makes it erasable. So in order to get this off, because this is permanent marker, I would have to get a dry erase marker, color over it, and then I could wash it off. And like in cell animation, I would draw on the front and then color on the back. Oh, yeah. Did I mention I taped these on? Like I just used tape. If you watch the pilot, you can see the tape sometimes. I didn't used to use in the early parts. I wouldn't use clear tape, but then eventually I started using clear tape because I didn't really like how it was looking. So yeah, I didn't really use clear tape. I would use old tape, so they would have like brown tape around their bodies and shit sometimes. These have held up pretty well, but I think there's still a little wear and tear. You can see like this area right here that used to be full black, and then it would get like stuck to other things, and then some of it would come off. So there's Eston and Miranda, as she was called at the time. There's Pablo.
Take that bite? You can't go back to breakfast like this. Here's another cleaning tip from Mr.
Alright, so it's May 3rd, and I guess I have a lot to say this time. It's probably been like months and months since I last did one of these. Coronavirus is happening right now. That's slowed production down just a little bit, because Trinity was designing the background upstairs for the bathroom. I need somebody else's input for this kind of thing. Like, since I'm doing like every stage of production, I like get spread out like extremely thin, and like I don't want things to just look like default in BloodThing. Like, if this was in the real world, I probably could just look up reference photos of like bathrooms and then just do something standard, but I don't want it to look like just a house and nothing else. So, and it takes me a while to get into like a headspace. Because like BloodThing has like a very specific problem. If it was just a fantasy show, it would be a lot easier, because then I wouldn't have to like worry about if anything's readable or if you can tell what it is. But like, I'm trying to put jokes in it, and I need to have the objects be readable as what they're supposed to be. So if BloodThing's in a bathtub, it can't look like a human bathtub, because then it'll just be boring. And then it can't look too alien, because then you can't read it like on screen as to what it's supposed to be. So this is like a perfect example of like why I need other people's input in order to do this. You know, she can't help right now because she has an extremely low immune system, and like I can't risk being around her, especially since I work retail. Like, because I don't want her to get sick. Since I'm writing, directing, acting, animating, and doing the sound design, like the amount of like brain power I have to do this kind of stuff, like it takes me forever to like come up with something that like works, because I'm just so incredibly spread thin by not having any help in the in like the post-production side. And that's not because no one is, just because I don't know anyone who knows any of this kind of stuff. It's much easier to get people to draw and color, but like it's like I don't know anyone who would be able to help with the audio stuff, especially since it's like such like an enormous like hurdle, like the amount of stuff you would have to give them. It's like a full-time thing, like sifting through like all the recordings and shit. Like, it's because even stuff like the cell phones, like, I don't really like I'm very picky about that kind of thing, and I don't know, maybe I should be less picky, but I feel like the show would like suck if everything looked really bland and like normal. I was gonna break this down. So yeah, the problem is it needs to read as a bathtub, but it also can't look like a bathtub. And that's the worst part. So it's one of those bathtubs where the faucet comes out and then goes up like through here, and then like it sprays down in there. Like it was just something I looked up. It comes down from the I assume the water. I don't even know how that works because it's the same pipe. I did it exactly as the picture, but I don't know how that works. This is slightly inspired by like the old wash tub bathtubs, but I couldn't go full that because that might be a little too alienating. I didn't want it to be like just a normal like in-ground bathtub or whatever, so I had it like up, and then I made the legs like all curly instead of like the little like the animal legs that you typically see. It has to be rusty. It has to be soaked in blood. It has to be like shitty, and instead of having a faucet, there is a hose that presumably is being strung through the house all the way from outside. So yeah, it's strung all the way through from outside through a hole in the floor which is invisible at this angle, and then stapled up through the wall, hung down from there, and then there's a little rubber band so that you can like close it shut and take a shower. Because something happened at some point. I'm trying to make the world look lived in, like it's very important to have the world look lived in, like things happened before the show started or before the camera started, and the characters are like very poor, and like obviously none of their like appliances are working properly, and they've had to like come up with their own solutions. I assume they don't have a washing machine, so Takara soaks clothing inside the bathtub and then hangs it up with clothesline. We actually do that because we've had to cut down on electricity usage, so we hang up the clothes on the clothesline instead of using the dryer because of how much electricity it takes up. I guess I shouldn't be showing you guys this because those are like copyright ambiguous. Alright, should I tell you? I guess I'll be bad and I'll tell you what each of them are inspired by. So that's a Renegon, that's Giorno's pin, that's you'd think that would be King Crimson, but that's actually Sunshine Bear in Chibi Robo. It's supposed to be right there at the crack of the mirror, but unfortunately, since Sunshine Bear is a bear and these characters are aliens, I can't actually like have any type of teddy bear aesthetic, so I just sort of had the outline of one, and I don't think anyone will ever get that reference even if they have played Chibi Robo, but yeah, I usually don't do this kind of thing, but like when you need to come up, like, because like that's more the kind of thing that I usually do is but yeah, like I don't know, you gotta keep yourself entertained like somehow, or you're gonna lose your fucking mind. Because this show is not fun to work on. I don't know if I said this. It is like agony. I don't do it because I enjoy doing it. I do it because I need purpose, and it's fulfilling, sort of. If I was doing a show just to have fun, it wouldn't be fulfilling. I would hate it. Like, I would hate the show itself, even if I was having fun doing it. It would be like, I don't know, some stupid erotic thing or whatever, like, and all the characters would be attractive, like 20-somethings or whatever, I don't know. And instead, I always choose the route of the show that I want to see, not the show that I want to make. And the show that I want to see is not fun to make. It's just pain and misery and agony. But I'm not doing this for fun. I'm doing this so that my life will have had meaning retroactively, if anyone, like, I'll be able to leave something worthwhile behind or something. so that my life wasn't completely worthless. I need to make sure that my life retroactively meant something after I'm dead. I don't know. Hello. It is May. Oh my God, it's May 11th. Jesus Christ. But I am going to record Kitty Cat's dialogue, and I found, I don't know if this will be useful, but I found that a way to get in like the right headspace when you're nervous about it, and it's not going to be in person, maybe, is to get dressed up for it. Like, I didn't so feel like good. Like, if you're just in your shitty clothes, like you are when you're in quarantine, when you're not wearing underwear and you're just wearing any t-shirt and sweatpants, and you're saving your good shirts like these for when you go out, it can be hard to get into a state where you feel comfortable telling people what to do or asking for them to do things. So, yeah. So that might be, even if you're recording via the internet and you might not, and they're not going to see how you look, it might actually be helpful to dress up just for yourself so that you are able to be put into a more normal headspace than you are when you're like just sitting around the house, even though you are just around the house. Alright, so it's July 28th, and I guess time for another update or something. This one, I thought it'd be cool to do one on the sound design process, maybe, just so. So, I filled this drawer up with silverware, hoping that that'll make the same sound. Because if I use an actual drawer, you could be able to tell, like, you can hear the rollers and like the wooden stuff, and obviously that wouldn't fit for the sound I'm trying to get. So because this is coming out of this is in a box, not in a drawer. I don't really have an audio recording software on my computer, so currently I use like a screen capture software and then just remove the video later on. Cut that part out. I'm hungry. Alright, so for the photograph, I think I'm going to use this Chest for Dummies little booklet. I guess I can say this part now, because I feel a little bit more confident talking. So basically, for anything that I can record myself, I do. And for anything I can't, I look for public domain or Creative Commons sound effects on freesound.org. The reason I don't use all pre-made sound effects is because it sounds really terrible. So if you ever watch The Simpsons, there's a sound effect that they play for when like the car is pulling in the driveway in the theme song, and that sound effect is used in so many fucking movies. It's so distracting. I'll be watching like A Beautiful Mind, this serious drama, and then I'll hear the Simpsons car pull out of the driveway, and it drives me insane. The worst though is, and they use the same as page turning sound effects that they use. They use them in home movies and in Brutal Legend and like all over the place, and it's so distracting. You couldn't turn a page yourself. I know that you people are reading scripts. That's not picked up on the microphone. Can't you just use like a page turn sound effect from like when your actors are flipping a script over? Like you have to go. It's like the worst, most phony sound ever when like they use a page turn. The Simpsons is actually a great primer in like ruining sound effects for you forever, because The Simpsons uses like 0 live recorded sound effects. It's all like, except for like in extreme scenarios, like when Lisa's tooth falls out in like Home Sweet Home Diddly Dum Doodly. Every single one of them you'll hear in something else. Yeah, I kind of feel like Neil Breen doing these behind the scene things. Like anyone thinks this is helpful. All right. So for the figures I'm thinking about, maybe using my own figures, I picked the noisiest ones I have. So So, bathtub sound effects. I think I'm going to actually use my actual N-Gage to get the right sound for BloodThing's phone. One thing I realized while doing the updates video, like the quarantine vlog, is that BloodThing's phone doesn't have a camera on it anywhere, but he's using it as a camera phone, which is something I did not catch in the entire year since I had made the face reveal vlog.
Oh, well, I guess it looks like that was the last thing I recorded. Things I've been working on recently are, I got a new computer, which I have 17 installed on, and since it has like higher processing power, basically my computer is so slow that I usually let it render overnight. It's like 8 hours till this shot is finished, so I'll just set it up overnight and then go to bed. Potentially, I don't necessarily need to do that anymore because of how powerful my new PC is. Who knows how long that'll last. Each time you use it, it degenerates slowly and slowly. Eventually, it'll be too slow to do anything. That's how time works, I guess. But yeah, so that'll help. I'm going to install a new RAM stick on my laptop to hopefully make things go faster. I don't know if that'll do anything. And a very funny thing happened recently where I had my external hard drive plugged into my computer, and then it just started deleting. It just deleted the first episode of BloodThing without me asking for it. I walked away and it's like, okay, we're going to delete this for you. And I'm like, what? And then delete the first episode of BloodThing. All of the project files, everything. So that was fun. Luckily I had a backup of that, but I guess be careful. Don't walk away or it'll delete shit without your permission. I don't know who thought that was a good idea. I come back and it's like, okay, you have 3 seconds left to press escape, otherwise we're going to fucking eradicate 7 months of your life. But thank God I had a backup. I had one backup. I had exactly one backup. Otherwise, the only backups I would have are the physical pages, which I still have, luckily.